playing Mirabella, and it is one very complex character, the best character you've ever written, Michael. And the kind of oscillating between very snarky and being very vulnerable, and then at the same time, you looked after Edward and Lavinia. You played all this role. It was really a very, very complex character. So tell us, how did you play it? What was the approach? Did you play it?
I think King Sen, who's not here this evening, I think King Sen in the rehearsal stage took all of us through this journey of who we were in relation to each other, and those rehearsals were some of the best times I've had in a rehearsal period in theatre. And so once again, it really was very innocent, and it was so for me so I don't know what the word is, but actually what I would do is, after, in reality, right, when the run was on, what would happen is that the Dream Girls would perform that whole opening number, and then they would wow the audience, and then afterwards they would go back to their dressing room to have a laugh, and then I would run to their stage, into their changing room, and say, can you please help me make up, and then they would make me up, because I didn't know how to do it, and certainly not the way they could do it so beautifully. So it really was just that kind of relationship that happened, off stage, that I think translated into a kind of like love on stage. So,
Michael, what were your thoughts when you first saw Poon Pin as Mirabella and Kabi as Lavinia and Karen as Ellen?
The truth is, I didn't want Poon to get the part. I complained to Jason, too slim, too attractive. Because I wanted a real physical difference between the two. I wanted Lavinia to really be attractive. I wanted Mirabella to be slightly over the hill, slightly more jaded, a bit sadder, and I felt Poon was too fresh. So this is the truth. And King Sen said, no, don't worry, I know what to do. I said, no, he looks too young. I don't want them to look alike. That was my issue, because I really wanted the two characters to have a different kind of empathy from the others, so that you fall in love with Lavinia, but you're always not sure about this one, and you grow to love Mirabella. That's what I wanted. And I didn't want the audience to feel like, oh, I like these two characters. I didn't want them to like Mirabella immediately. So that was my issue. But I guess King Sen was right at the end. So you're too attractive for me.
So did you attend rehearsals for private parts? For the 1992?
Yeah, actually I did. I think the problem then was that most of us held full-time jobs. So all the rehearsals were after work. So we do our full-time jobs, finish at 7, and we rush down to wherever it was we were rehearsing. So where possible I attend, weekends I attend, but not all the rehearsals. I think it's only a recent thing where I've been able to attend probably 90% of the rehearsals. Previously, that's half of the time.
What was your role in the rehearsals? Did King Sen come up to you and say, so what do you think? Or did he say, Michael, I need something else here? Or were you just literally sitting there, observing? What was it like?
A bit of both. I'm usually quite respectful of my directors. I will sit there and observe quietly, and if I'm bothered by something, I'll wait till the whole rehearsal is over, then I'll go to them. You know that scene there? Do you mind asking them not to keep doing that or whatever? So that's the most I'll do. But otherwise, no, I just leave the directors to handle all the time.
What were your reactions to the reception of private parts, which, I think Hannah Pandyan wrote the best review in her career for private parts. She actually said that the play should not close until everybody in Singapore has watched it. So, I mean, the response was overwhelming, was positive, and so how did you guys feel? I mean, you obviously invested so much into it, and then the response was like this. What was it?
Yeah. I think it was very overwhelming actually for all of us because this was the World Trade Center theater, right? Which at the time was kind of like, you know, one of the mega, if not the most mega theaters in Singapore, and that we could sell out 20 performances, which at the time was kind of like unheard of, you know, because plays are traditionally a few nights and then that's it. You never see them again. So this went on for 20 performances, and it was full every performance. And not only that, as performers on stage, you could feel, even though it was such a large house, you could feel the energy of the audience, you know, flowing back to you. And in the quiet moments, to actually hear people sniffing and sobbing sometimes, you know, was just a very, very special feeling for all of us. I think what was very interesting was how you know, everyone came to that show thinking, oh, it's a Michael Chiang comedy, you know, we're gonna have a good time, we're gonna laugh our socks off, you know, and they do, and they did. And you know, so we get them, you know, laughing in the first half, and then it turns, right? It turns, and then you are drawn into a world which you know, doesn't get talked about or you know, discussed very often. And I remember in the rehearsal period, we actually went to meet you know, professors in NUH, right, who do these procedures, and just to talk about the realities of what it means, you know, for transgender. And once again, it's not like what it is today, where it's kind of like everywhere. You know, you just go on YouTube and you see various versions of it. But you know, so it really was a very I don't know. I'm not sure what the word is, but it really was a very
It's very unique and special, and just
just to be able to, I think for myself as a performer, just to be able to communicate such, you know, issues to an audience at large, I think was a fantastic moment for me. And this is 1992, you know,
yeah.
1992, it was a very different Singapore, although some might say, no, that much has changed. But nonetheless, it was 1992, and, you know, a topic of this nature was so taboo, or contact, or proximity between two men was so taboo that whenever on stage there were moments between Mirabella and Warren, the audience gasped. That is like, you mean he put his hand on, you know, that kind of thing. And so, but you know, I think we did it. That we say sensitively enough to not so-called frighten people, but to show them that, look, love exists in all forms and in many forms.
I think for me, one of the best moments in the 92 production, and this is a credit to your writing and also to the actors. I remember this scene where these Mirabella and Lavinia, they were like sparring with each other. Oh, I don't want to do this and all that, right? And it was written, the rhythm was da 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 da. And then Mirabella said, well, something to the effect that, you know, well, it's all going to change anyway, my operation's tomorrow. And then suddenly, Lavinia says, oh, I'm getting nervous now, right? And then immediately, Mirabella went and said, held her hand, very touching moment, and said, it's okay. Professor Ratnam is the best in Singapore. Right? It was very, now that the bitching started again, right? So that's just that. But anyway, I'm going to enter. So it is really that moments like this where he says, okay, I'm here to look after you. And then bitching continued, and then Edward came in and they made fun of Edward. Poor Edward always gets made fun of. Yeah, so it's really these moments, and when you get this book, read the play. It's really one of the best plays ever written in Singapore. And with that, I'd like to thank Loon for coming in today. Thank you. So I'm not done with private parts. So, 92 commission. I understand Heng Seng came to you and says, can you write a play about transvestite? Is that true? Or so how did it go?
Not true. As is my want, I try to always imagine what the landscape is like when the play opens. So the last play before there was Mixed Signals. So that time it was SDU, it was Killer Litter, so I put it all together. So this time, I knew it was 1992 Arts Festival. And because I was a journalist, so I said, okay, what's going to happen in 1992 that I can take, do a spin on? And at that point, they closed down Bukit Street because it was unsavory, etc., etc., etc. So it closed a couple of years, and then subsequently they announced the government decided to reopen Bukit Street as a tourist attraction. So I thought, oh, this is so weird. On. So I thought, okay, what if they reopen, it becomes a success? What if they took it further? So that was the starting point. I thought, okay, what if Bukit Street is so successful, it becomes a landmark again, and they open Bukit's World on Sentosa. So this is pretty resourceful.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, let's use that starting. So my starting point was creating Bukit's World. So I thought, I'll set the play in 1995, projected 3 years down, because of success of Bukit's Street, Bukit's World happens, and then it starts all this, all the drag queens from around the region come to perform and it goes really OTT. So that was the starting point. So I knew how to start. I had no idea what the story was about.
How did you come up with a character like Mirabelle? It's a beautiful character.
So when it started with the TV show, I thought open the TV show, so I needed a host. So I thought a host. What if the host encounters 3 people that we never actually encountered them, right? And not just 1 but 3 of them. So I started plotting ways to make this host end up in a sex change clinic and meet 3 most interesting people that we never actually encountered. Once I placed them there, the story would. I had no idea how it's going to end, what's going to happen. I just knew I could put them in sequence before. So that was exciting. So Kingston didn't really know what I was going to write.
So you put Warren in Falcon Crest Medical Center.
That was a bigger show then.
Yes, yeah. Clarity of popular cultural references. Falcon Crest Medical Center. And then, how did you know who to? Did you always knew that there was going to be 2 male to female, transsexual, and 1 female to male? You always knew that. And did you always know the demographic? Was it exactly like how you saw it in your head, and then Mirabella came to life, then the veneer? Why did you call them Mirabelle?
They just launched a magazine in the States called Mirabella.
Now I know.
And I thought, oh, this is a nice name. I wanted a name that had a sound. I didn't want like a jello. I wanted a bit of a flouncy, flamboyant name. I thought Mirabella sounds
And okay, then, of course, that is followed by, why is the character called Lavinia?
I kind of semi-made it up. I sort of said, okay, I need a sound that sounds quite interesting. I need a name that sounds quite interesting. So I thought, Lavinia, kind of Lavinia sounds kind of scary, Virginia. So that's how I just made up names. And then Edward, I wanted something very straight, very just very boring. I just wanted a very nondescript, under the radar name for Edward.
And then you knew Mirabella was going to be over the hill, older, yeah. Because one of the very moving monologues that Mirabella says is, she describes herself, I'm not young and pretty like Lavinia, And one of the most wonderful lines being said that, now that I always wanted to be ordinary, an average woman, but now that I am, I'm frightened of being an average woman because I've gone through so much. Yeah. So over the hill, then you wanted the contrast with the young, and then you have the N-word. So you put these three people together, put them in a race. And then a very interesting character called Nurse Vasu, who was thrown in the mix, all these characters in there. So you didn't know where it was going to end, but you knew that it was going to be a TV host. You knew that they were going to be put in the, literally under the spotlight. Yeah? So then I ask you, did you know how it was going to end? Or were there alternative happy endings that you never revealed, whether that the Playwrights version, or did you always knew that it was going to end in the way that it has ended?
No, when I wrote it, I had no idea how actually it would play. I just knew they were going to meet, and at some point, Warren, the TV host, would want, in a way, exploit and take advantage of the three new friends and say, look, it's all about ratings. Because the boss was telling him that ratings are down, you're not performing. So we decided, okay, I'm going to get the ratings in. No one's ever put three transgender people on TV in Singapore. I mean, make it happen. So, and it felt real for me. It felt quite real because I was working at the point with that was SBC, So I kind of knew what the tone was like, what the fears were like, and what they wouldn't allow on TV, and how they adjust for us. So for me, it's quite real, that whole part about what the producer wants to do, how they feel about pretty boy hosts that don't have substance. So all of that kind of seeped in from my work environment. But I didn't know how the stories were end. I just knew to be on a TV show, and then it just starts writing itself. It is really, there'll come to a point where it just stands out and says, could you have like, I thought, right, that wrote itself. I never signed a record.
Then the ending, so you didn't think that they would, because it's a wonderful ending because it's so open. They remain friends, and wonderful line is, well, Warren, keep it up, So it's that tone which is really quite resigned. So, but Inaugural remains very strong. So you didn't think that they might end up together with a happy ending. Cannot. Oh, no. Okay. So you were very productive those few years. So that's 92. 94, you wrote another short play called Heaven 2 about real estate.